If your business is running Google Ads to get more leads and your leads are either terrible or you're just not getting enough leads at all, the problem is almost always the way your campaigns are set up. Either you're running the wrong campaign type to attract the qualified leads you desire, you're targeting the wrong keywords, or you're simply missing a few key settings during the campaign setup that are preventing you from getting the results you're looking for. I've managed over $100 million in ad spend across Google and Meta ads, and one thing I see all the time is businesses thinking that Google ads or Meta ads does not work in their industry, and that's simply not the case. It's just their campaigns are set up incorrectly. So in this video, I'm gonna walk through what I believe is the best Google ads strategy and campaign to set up in 2026 to attract the best qualified leads. This is going to be the campaign setup, the keyword targeting, and the settings associated to the campaign to give yourself the best chance of success. So if you're a service business, a local business, a B2B business, really any business that relies on leads to get revenue, and you're looking for qualified leads, not just more leads, then this is the video for you. Okay, so as mentioned, what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna build an actual lead generation campaign for you guys to see. This example is gonna be for a roofing company, but you can use same ingredients, different recipe, meaning you can use this exact same strategy for your business regardless of what you're selling or what leads you need. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hop into Google Ads and I am going to just create a new campaign, and this is the start of everything. Because a lot of times I see business owners selecting the wrong campaign that from the start is gonna give them the worst chance to get actual qualified leads. And so this is just an objective in Google Ads that you can select. It really doesn't matter. It just gives Google Ads a different level of options in the settings down the road that can help you. So from the start, I just wanna operate with them. Again, it's fairly arbitrary for the most part, but just select it. If you're trying to get leads, select leads. They may give you options in the settings in the future to enhance that ability for you to get more leads. So after you select your goal, all you're gonna do is gonna give you conversion goals. And this is a really, really common issue I see in ad accounts is people are targeting so many conversion actions. So for example, you'll see here, we have like sign up, submit lead forms, add to carts, begin checkout, other contacts. Some people even have page views, right? So you'll wanna make sure that this is dialed in. And what I mean by that is you wanna get very specific. What are you trying to accomplish? You definitely don't want to tell Google Ads that they're doing a good job on the campaign and to fire conversion whenever somebody views a specific page like your landing page. Maybe if it's a thank you page, sure, or like a lead form submitted page, good. But all we're going to want to do, since we want leads in this case, you're just going to want to have this one left over, which is submit lead forms, right? You're going to essentially get rid of everything else. And in most cases, yes, you're gonna be tracking calls as well. So you'll wanna do lead forms and phone calls, right? So those are really the only two ones. Again, why you do that is because you're training Google Ads consistently on the data you're feeding back to them. This is the data you feed them. These are the behaviors you're gonna feed back to them and reinforce them that they're doing a good job. The more lead forms that you get in your ad account, you're going to reinforce to Google Ads that they're doing a good job, they're targeting the right people whenever they get these in the account. So all you're gonna do from here is you're going to delete anything that is not lead form. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Next, you're just gonna scroll down, select a search campaign. This is probably the easiest and most qualified ways to get leads. Performance Max is very, very slept on for lead generation. And a lot of people think that it only generates poor quality leads. That is simply further from the truth. I have accounts spending up to 100 grand a month in ad spend, and Performance Max is outperforming search. So it can work, but that is a bit more of an advanced strategy. And it takes offline conversion tracking where you're feeding your data from your CRM back to Google Ads so they know when somebody's becoming a customer. But for this sake, for most businesses, you're always gonna want a search campaign. That is the bread and butter of lead generation. And so just select search. You're gonna wanna make sure you select website visits and then just enter in your website. So for now, for this company, we're just gonna focus on roofing repair, and this is their website. Cool, and then as far as the campaign name, I like to name this something simple, something for me to understand what it is. So I always like to start with something like search, and then I'll just label the area that I'm wanting to target, Colorado, and then from there, what's the objective? To get more leads, and then hit continue. Cool, next you're gonna go over to the bidding section of Google Ads, and this part is really, really important as well. So if you are a new account, what I recommend is you're not gonna really be able to leverage a smart bidding strategy. Why is that? Because smart bidding is very, very effective, yes, but you need conversion history for smart bidding to be effective. If you have no conversions and you're telling Google Ads, hey, use smart bidding that's supposed to anchor to your previous conversion history, they're not going to be able to do that, of course. So where I would start, let's just assume this is a brand new account, is we are going to start with maximize clicks. And the reason I want to start with maximize clicks is because we just want a baseline of data. Once we get a few conversions in there, then we can pivot over to smart bidding. And so if you're an existing account, I would recommend smart bidding from the start. I'd recommend a TCPA bid strategy if you're an existing account. So I'd set up a cost per target acquisition, and I'll make a separate video about how to know what your target acquisition cost should be and what you should set in here based on your conversion history. But again, for this video, let's pretend we're a brand new account. I'm going to use maximize clicks to start. I'm probably going to do a bit of keyword research to understand what other competitors are paying for certain terms in my space, but understanding this vertical enough for roofing repair, I'm going to go all the way up to start $12 for a click. Again, fairly common in the roofing space to pay anywhere up to $30 a click. It can get really expensive. And again, that's primarily just dependent on what other competitors are willing to pay. So we want to get data in. We know it's probably going to be more expensive up front, but that's fine. We're okay paying this much. Again, other advertisers are paying really similar amounts. So we have to be okay to spend this money. So again, I'm just going to set 12. I can always adjust up or down after a few days of data. It doesn't really matter here. And then you can just skip this part. I'm going to go next. This is very, very important, this part. A lot of people, I'd probably say about 50% of the lead generation accounts that I'm auditing are leaving these two guys on. Now, what are these? In a nutshell, these are additional placements that Google can say, hey, if there's not enough search volume, can we allow you to spend your full daily budget in other placements, even if they're not as valuable as Google search? And that's what they're trying to do. Google is a business and they will find any way to get you to spend more money, even if it's not advantageous to you. So I definitely always, 100% of the time, am unclicking Google Display Network. You do not want to run banner ads to get leads. And the reason why is because there's no intent needed for a banner ad to be generated and for somebody to see it. So 100% of the time, disable that. As far as the Google Search Partner Network, you can pause that. I like to pause it to start. This one's a bit better than Google Display Network, but I pause it to start because the most beneficial placements 95% of the time are going to be directly on Google. You do not want to show on other partner websites that Google owns that are less familiar search engines. Usually they just perform worse than Google Ads. So I start with these. Once you max out search impression share on Google for your specific terms, then maybe I'd expand to this, but for now you can leave these guys off. We're gonna go down to the targeting section. Targeting, really simple in here. Make sure you drop this, you hit this drop down, hit presence in or regularly in. This is just another way for them to waste money if you leave this automatically checked on the default. So make sure you're targeting people in your targeted location. Again, I mentioned for this particular business, we're wanting to target Northern Colorado. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in all the cities in Northern Colorado that we wanna target, such as like Fort Collins, Greeley, etc., other northern parts of Denver as well. So that's what I'm gonna do in here. That's what you guys should do. And then let's just skip to the next step for the sake of the video. In here, they do this in essentially every campaign build. Make sure if you're not a political advertisement or anything of that nature, you can just deselect this guy and then move into the more segment side of things. This is going to be very important. This is where you're going to want to set up your UTM parameters. What are UTM parameters? So where it says this is where you'd essentially enter in your UTM parameters. What they do is when somebody converts, let's say somebody went to my advertisement on my landing page here, and then they converted. Well, if you have a CRM, which I highly recommend every lead generation business to have a CRM so you know where leads are coming from and you know what campaigns they're converting from. It doesn't matter if you're getting a lot of leads from a campaign if they're all unqualified. So you need to figure out what campaigns are producing the highest quality leads. UTM parameters allow you to do that. So let me show you. In this URL right here, you can see this is where we're going to send people. When this is a UTM parameter. And what it will do is, as you can see, you have like things like UTM source. So in your CRM, you'll know that, Sally Johnson came from an AdWords campaign. And then you can keep going down and you can figure out what campaign ID she came from, which you can see in Google Ads and attribute that to the specific name of the campaign. Or you can just see here, she came from the home, roof, repair, UTM campaign is this roofing lead gen campaign they have. And so they can just map that back to Google Ads and understand the campaign it came from and attribute that either to an unqualified bucket or she was qualified or she closed. And then you can back it up into an actual ROI in the campaign. So I highly, highly recommend this. There's several templates out there for this. I always like to start with this LP URL and at least track the source and the campaign name. In most cases, I like to track the keyword trigger as well. So make sure you set that up. Again, there's tons of templates out there. For the sake of this video, I'm not gonna do that right now, but 100% of the time you should be setting this up. Go into more settings here. And this is another setting that I find a lot of people miss in the lead generation space that costs them unnecessary dollars. And so just practically speaking, a lot of businesses, let's just say for this business, a lot of businesses are not open 24/7. They're open Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or something like that, right? And so if you are running your ads on Friday afternoon to really Sunday evening and you're getting leads, and then you're like calling these leads, your team is calling these leads on Monday morning, they're likely cold. And the likelihood that they convert and become a qualified lead and they get somebody out to go do an estimate is very, very low. Leads need to be called, ideally, as soon as possible. Anything over 20 minutes is way too long to be following up with your leads from a Google Ads campaign. So what I like to do here is I like to coincide this with the business operation hours. So if I'm open only Monday to Friday, I'm selecting Monday to Friday here, and I'm going to put, let's just say they open at 8, maybe I'll start running my ads at 8, and I will finish them off at, let's just say 5 p.m. Boom, now your ads are only going to show and your budget is only going to be hyper-focused to that specific narrow time window, which gives you a greater ability to bid higher in the auction at certain points of the day, because again, your budget's hyper-focused to the most beneficial periods to your business. So make sure you set this guy up. Last but not least, ad rotation, all these are probably pretty fine. So all I'll do now is hit next. AI Max is essentially an AI tool for search campaigns. It essentially scans your website and it allows you to let Google do all the targeting. So you don't target any keywords. They just say, hey, your website shows that you're relevant and you do X, Y, Z. So anybody who's typing in this keyword, we'll show we'll show your ad for it as long as we think that you're relevant for it. That's what AI Max is gonna do. Don't turn this on. In most cases, I've tested this. It can be good. I don't wanna roll it out. It can be good. I've seen some benefit from it. But to start, again, especially if you're a new account, I'd highly, highly recommend sticking to your manual targeting on things. Gives you a greater level of control over the ad copy that you're able to write, and then over the keywords that you can ensure are coming in to see your ads. So for this, I'm just gonna actually skip this guy for now. I'm gonna leave the toggle off. Again, it can be beneficial in some cases for sure, and I've gotten some scale out of it, so don't rule it out completely. When you hit next, you're gonna be led to this thing. And again, this is kind of just Google's AI and ability to make campaign management or creation easier. But a lot of times what they're doing here is they've pulled from the website and they kind of understand what it is that we do. And they've taken our URL and that's how they've gotten it. And they're saying, hey, we can create the keywords and all the headline text and description text for you. I do not like doing this because what I've had happen several times is businesses come back to me, or I've ran it and tested it simply, and things that are being called out are either inaccurate, they're outdated, or they're simply like a bait and switch in there, or it does not represent the brand at all. So there is error in allowing Google to do this. Can it save time? Yes. Most times they're actually pretty good at it, but especially starting out, just do it yourself. You're gonna wanna make sure you understand the type of copy you're writing, the type of keywords you have control over, etc. So I usually skip this as well, and then you'll just come down here and hit skip. Now this is the fun part. So this is the theming and the structuring of your campaign essentially. This is where your keywords that you're targeting are going to exist, and then in that same group of keywords, that's where you're going to write your ads that are specific to those keywords that people would see. So you want a specific theme here. So again, if I am running a search campaign and I have roof repairs and I'm sending traffic to this specific landing page, I want all of my keywords in here to be related to people looking for a roofing repair, right? In Northern Colorado in particular. So what I'm not gonna do in here is have roof replacement keywords, right? That would be a separate ad group because it's a separate category, and you're gonna have separate ads and a separate landing page that you traffic people to from that thing. So think of these as specific keyword categories or groupings. So in here, you're gonna wanna make sure it's labeled correctly. And so for here, just from an organization purpose, I'm gonna go roof repair. Now I'll know quickly when I'm viewing my ad account, roof repair is getting X cost per lead, and these are the type of terms we're targeting. So in here, where I like to start, and this is where a lot of people make mistake, is they just trust Google because Google recommends broad match because that's kind of where they're moving things toward with their AI. But especially if you're a new account, and I love Broadmatch. This is somebody, I use Broadmatch on the daily for most of my ad accounts, but most of my ad accounts are very mature. We have tons of mature data in the ad account. And yes, it can bring extra qualified leads in, or even terms that you weren't even considering targeting that will convert and lead to revenue. So I'm not against Broadmatch, but definitely to start, what you want to do is you want to have exact match. And I'm not going to get into all the technicals of the difference between broad and exact. All I'll say is exact match allows you to have a much clearer connection to what the user is typing in and what you want them to and what you want to show for. So for example, if I want to show for roof repair in Colorado, in Northern Colorado, or roof repair company Colorado, and I want my ad to pop up when somebody's searching that, well, if I'm running exact, that has to be typed in for my ad to show, or something very, very close. If I run it as broad match, somebody can just type in roofing and my ad is eligible to pop up, right? So the variance in terms of what is loose on broad versus what needs to be mostly connected to the keyword I want to target, that's really the main difference here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to type in a few so you guys can get the hang and understanding here, but I'm going to type in the keywords that my audience, the people that are going to become a lead, would most likely be searching for here. Make it high quality. We want people who already know they want a roof repair. We don't want things like what is roof repair, roof repairing a license. We want people who are customers and their search intent indicates that, right? So I'm going to type in roof repair near me. And again, if we're targeting by geo, this is very applicable. It's fine. We're going to hit a qualified audience. I'll just type in something like emergency roof repair, roof repair contractor. I'd probably go all the way up to 10 exact match keywords after. There's a whole nother video I can make on this, but after I've maxed out the search impression share of these exact match keywords, I do one of two things. I'd either go to phrase match, which is expanding the looseness that I just mentioned on these keywords, these groupings that I've targeted, or I would start adding more keywords in here, right? That people are probably typing in to lead me to believe they're going to be a qualified lead. So let's just start for this for now. Again, I'd probably type in more, but for the sake of the video, we'll speed things along here. And then same thing, as far as the ad copy goes, I'm not going to sit here and write out the whole ad just for time's sake, but I'll show you the main things I'm paying attention to. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure, one, that I'm sending people to the most qualified page. If you are a roofing company and you're optimizing for roof repair, and that's the service you want, but your roofing company has both roof repair and roof replacements, well, make sure you have a roof repair specific page. This is going to get you leads at a cheaper rate because it's more relevant to the keywords people are seeing. They're going to land on this page immediately and go, boom, I'm hit with an offer. I know it's in Northern Colorado, which is where I'm targeting. I already see the price, which is in my range. I know all the stuff they do. They do free estimates, all this. They make it so easy. They're very credible. And then boom, here's the call to action. It's just submitting the form. And so make sure the landing page is very specific. You do not want to send them to a general page that has a roof repair and a roof replacement type of messaging on there. Make sure this is like probably one of the most important parts of the campaign, if not the most important part outside of the keyword targeting. And again, this is just going to make sure you get a better quality lead and then also a better cost per qualified lead if people see that it's relevant. So I'm just going to stick with these headlines and things of that nature. But I think the biggest things to call out in your copy, especially if you're in a crowded space here, call out things that make it as easy as possible. And especially if you have an offer that people can cling to. So this one is free estimates. I love how they call out no obligation quote. Anything that current customers have complained about other competitors doing, come against that in your ad copy as well. Make people believe that you're truly the best and most credible provider for what it is they're needing to do. And that's what I'd communicate. It's all about credibility in this space. And then obviously you'd want to make sure you fill out your business name and things of that nature, have your logo. You can have site links to, I'd say pages, but you don't want your site links to take away from the actual funnel you're trying to build. You really want people to land on here, this page, if they're looking for roof repair, 10 out of 10 times for the most part. Maybe if you send them to like a FAQ page, like that's going to completely detract them from the funnel you're trying to send them down. And it's going to just ruin things. So most cases, like I'm not really sending them to other pages. You can use some site links, maybe. Some site links make sense at certain stages of the funnel. But honestly, for this, I would probably have no site links and I would just link to the main page. You could probably link to a contact form, maybe an FAQ page, but again, FAQ page is kind of reducing what you're wanting them to do. So just be very careful about the site links. Honestly, less is more there. And then you're gonna hit save and you're gonna be able to publish the campaign. And so again, I hope this video has helped you understand that the campaign you choose is very important, because that is going to dictate the ability for you to even have success from generating leads, and not just leads, but leads that can actually close the revenue. Number two, the settings of the campaign build matter immensely. One, from a tracking standpoint, and then just making sure that you're not wasting money on unqualified spend or placements. And then three, your keyword targeting and landing page strategy are going to be a really, really, really important part of you being able to attract qualified leads and get leads at a cheaper rate. So hope this video is helpful for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, let me know if you want me to give you a free ad account audit.